Texans fans, welcome into Texans Today. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's program, 5 players on this Texans defense that could have a breakout year under year 2 of DeMeco Ryans, defensive coordinator Matt Burke. I'll let you know who those guys are, who could splash onto the scene and possibly be the best player at their position. I'll give you those 5 names coming up in just a moment. But a little trivia time for you. And reminder, the answer is always at the end of the show. So stick around till the very end to see if you truly do know ball. But the question of today is, who has the most sacks in a single game in Texans franchise history? I'll give you one clue. It might not be who you think it is. But let me know down in the comment section. Give me your guesses. Let me know, who do you think has the most sacks in a single game in Texans franchise history? Now, going with our breakout players on defense. First up, we're talking Will Anderson Jr., defensive end. And then, of course, I'm talking about Will Anderson Jr. because, I mean, he was one of the best defensive ends in all of football last year and won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He had 64 pressures in 2023, 17.3% pressure rate. That was top 10 in the NFL. 0.76 get-off rate. That's, how long it takes from when the ball snaps to whenever he's moving. Also, one of the best in the NFL, and 22 quarterback hits for Anderson Jr. last season. We have the addition of Danielle Hunter for this Texans defense, which I think is only going to, elevate Will Anderson going into 2024. All the coaching staff has been talking about how good he's looked this offseason, coming into minicamp, coming into OTAs, and it's been noted also Anderson has added 15 pounds of muscle, and it doesn't look like he's slowing down at all either. So you're telling me I get that same speed, top 10 in the league in get-off rate and pressure percentage, plus he added more muscle, got a little bit stronger this offseason? Yeah, I'm going to, choose Anderson to break out this season. And Danielle Hunter had some great things to say about his new teammate. This is what he had to say during minicamp. Oh, man, this kid right there, he's exciting. He has a lot of tools. I was with him earlier, and he just can't stop jumping. How eager he is to go out there and rush the passer together. And I think, truly, this duo can be one of the best in the NFL this season. Danielle Hunter had more than 16 sacks last year. Will Anderson only 7, but still, like I said, he got after the quarterback a ton. He was almost there for so many sacks last season that he could have easily had double-digit numbers his rookie year. So I'm really excited to see now with the addition of Danielle Hunter, not only Hunter, but also DeMeco Autry on the interior, how well Will Anderson is going to look for this DeMeco Ryans defense this season. Next up, cornerback, Derek Stingley Jr., my second breakout candidate for this Texans defense. And I know what you're saying, breakout candidate. Well, he should be one of the best defenders already. He already broke out last season, and you'd think so. But, I mean, across the NFL landscape, I've been seeing a ton of disrespect around Derek Stingley Jr. Last year, 39 tackles, 5 interceptions, 13 pass breakups. In my opinion, was a top 10 corner last year for the Houston Texans and in the National Football League. And here's some next-gen stats via Mina Kimes, because, of course, ESPN and the folks over at Next Gen, they don't make these numbers accessible to the common folk like me and you. So I just have to take Mina Kimes' word for all this. Shout out to you, Mina. But according to her, Stingley had the 4th lowest passer rating allowed last year, the 4th lowest EPA per play, and 1st in Next Gen Hawk rating, which, how she explained it, it's basically the closest defender to the ball making a play, which I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly what that means, but he was 1st in it. So that has to count for something. And you're saying, oh, yeah, well, he's obviously, 4th, 1st. Mina Kimes is talking about him being one of the best players. What do you mean he's being disrespected? Well, PFF came out with their top 32 corners heading into 2024. They had him ranked 27th. He had the 5th highest PFF grade last year, and he comes into this year ranked 27th on their big board. So if you're telling me that's not disrespect, I don't know what is for Derek Stingley. I truly believe he's going to prove once again this season why he is a top 5 corner in the NFL and possibly could be the best corner in the entire National Football League. Now, these two guys, obviously, it's like choosing between two amazing things. It's like, oh, Do you want $1,000 or do you want 2 bricks of gold? I mean, it's a win-win situation here. But I want to know from you folks at home, who do you think has a bigger impact for the Texans in 2024? Do you think it's Derek Stingley, type 24, or do you think it's Will Anderson, type 51? There's really no wrong answer in this, question, but I really want to hear your reasoning behind it. Why do you think Derek Stingley might have a bigger impact, or why do you think Will Anderson could have a bigger impact this season? Now, going on to a rookie, the Texans' first selection in the 2024 NFL Draft, Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia. He's my next breakout candidate for this Texans defense. And a lot of people, including me, were somewhat worried about, is he ready to step up? Is he ready to start on this Texans defense? He had the 40 time, through his draft process that a lot of people were worried about. He didn't have an interception last year, so people were questioning the ball skills, but he has done nothing but just prove everybody wrong during minicamp and OTAs and has absolutely showed out so far. Kamari Lassiter, I have him slotted in as that Texans starting CB2 going into 2024 alongside Derek Stingley. And when you look at the numbers, his coverage stats at Georgia last season, he was phenomenal. Allowed 15 completions on 39 attempts, only 136 yards, no touchdowns allowed. I know he had no interceptions, but also no touchdowns allowed, and a quarterback rating of 48.7 when targeted. Lassiter, he's going to start opposite Stingley, and obviously Stingley's probably going to take a lot of the wide receiver ones on opposing squads, but with him starting, with him getting the chance to be that starting CB2 on the outside, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to make great plays, especially with this Texans pass rush getting after the quarterback. I think that's going to, speed up the opposing offenses, make them get rid of the ball quicker, and that could mean good things for Lassiter because he doesn't have that top-end speed, running down the sideline, but what he does have is that quick twitch, that really good ability to, get after the ball, really stop on a dime and make a cut and make a play on the ball. That's where Lassiter is really good. That's where he excels. And with the Texans pass rush and Lassiter being on the outside, I think that's going to be a match made in heaven for this Texans defense this season. Now, I have 2 more candidates coming up in just a moment, but if you haven't already, go get yourself a Texans jersey with our friends over at Fanatics. If you go to chatsports.com/Texans jerseys, that link is going to be in the comment section and description of today's video. You can get all these brand new jerseys. And with the Texans coming out with 4 new jersey concepts this season, all the other ones, they're outdated. So why not go out and get a brand new one, just like this H-Town one? I mean, absolutely sick. All available. Go do some window shopping. Go check it out. One more time, it's chatsports.com/Texans jerseys. Go check out all of the jerseys they have available for you today. Next up, I'm going back-to-back. I'm going another rookie here in Calen Bullock, the safety out of USC. Now, he had, some concerns as well coming out of the draft. That's why he was a 3rd-round pick. But I think his area of weakness really doesn't affect what the Texans want him to do. They want him to be that defender on the back end. They want him to be that safety who's going to, take away the deep ball from opposing teams and help in coverage. And that is where Bullock really excels. If we look at this safety depth chart, we have Jimmy Ward, we have Jalen Petrie as that safety 1, safety 2. But both those guys, I feel like, are better in the run game, better at playing in the box. Calen Bullock, he's actually the opposite. He does not play well in the run game whatsoever, but what he does do is he does cover really well. Last year at USC, I know, allowed 5 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 97.0, but he had 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions last year, only allowed 282 yards, was pretty good on a subpar USC defense. And when we look at what Lance Zierlein had to say about Calen Bullock coming out of the draft, it kind of highlights what I was mentioning earlier. This is what Zierlein had to say. Long and athletic with a series of feast-or-famine plays all over the tape, Bullock can be scary good in coverage and scary bad as a run defender. He has the range to play single high safety, the athleticism to line up over the slot, and the ball skills to chalk up impressive on-ball production. He won't always see or process the game clearly, but the athleticism and playmaking talent are hard to overlook. He's young and talented, and if he runs well enough, there might be a team more interested in his skill set as a cornerback than a boom or bust safety. I personally think Calen Bullock is going to be the perfect piece for what the Texans need on the back end. He's going to be that guy who really takes away the deep ball, makes sure that these other, cornerbacks have some safety help over the top. We have Jalen Pitre, we have Jimmy Ward, but they really struggled in defending the deep ball last year, and that's where Bullock can really come in and help in year one. I think DeMeco Ryans is going to implement him in necessary ways to really help this Texans secondary and really shore up the back-end coverage for this Texans defense in 2024. Now, I have one more name, actually, for a breakout candidate, but here's a couple of honorable mentions. Christian Harris at linebacker. I was kind of battling with him or this next guy on who gets the last spot for our breakout candidate list. Jalen Pitre, he had a down year last year, but I think he could possibly turn it around. Obviously, he was learning a new system last year, had some ups and downs, but I'm really hoping that Pitre bounces back in 2024. And the free agent addition of Foley Fatukasi flew under the radar for most, but I think he can be a really good nose tackle for this team. He might not show it in the stats, but I think he's really going to help with this Texans run defense up the middle, something that they really struggled in, highlighted in that playoff loss against the Ravens. I think Foley Fatukasi can really help this Texans run defense. But my last breakout candidate for the Texans defense in 2024, Azeez Al-Shaair, the linebacker that they brought in free agency. And like I said, I was really between him and Christian Harris. I didn't know who I was going to put on this list. I ended up giving Azeez the nod here, but what say you? Who do you think is going to have the better season in 2024? Do you think it's going to be Christian Harris, or do you think it's going to be Azeez Al-Shaair? Let me know down in the comment section. Type 48 for Christian Harris or type 0 for Azeez Al-Shaair. Let me know who you think is going to be better in 2024 this year. Now, Azeez Al-Shaair in 2023, he really showed out for the Tennessee Titans, the AFC South rivals of the Houston Texans. He had 163 tackles for Tennessee last year, 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 4 pass breakups, was really good for that team. And you're saying, oh, well, is he going to be able to, acclimate to this DeMeco Ryans defense? Well, he has before. They actually were together in San Francisco in 2022 and 2021. And Azeez had one of his best years with DeMeco Ryans. And I think, that familiarity with the scheme, that familiarity with the coaching staff is really going to help Al-Shaair step up and come in right away and make an impact on this defense. We already, heard from Will Anderson during minicamp talking about how much of a leader Azeez is. And I really, truly believe that he's going to be one of the captains on this defense in 2024. He is a very smart player. He has a great head on his shoulders, and I think he could be a good extension of DeMeco Ryans on the field for this defense in 2024. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has the green dot, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the team captains for this defense in 2024, because what he's already proven on the field, how good he is, that's not in question. I mean, the only really big question with Azeez is if he can stay healthy, which he stayed healthy all last year for the Titans. So I'm really hoping he can do that for the Texans this year. But I'm really excited to see his fit once again in a DeMeco Ryans defense and see if he can, turn back the clock a little bit and play like he did with the San Francisco 49ers for the Texans defense. And the reason why I may give him the nod a little bit over Christian Harris is the pass defense. I think in coverage, Azeez could be really good for this Houston Texans defense in the middle, somewhat similar to what Blake Cashman was for the team last year. That's why I'm really excited to see Azeez on the field this year. Now, at the beginning of today's show, I asked you who had the most sacks in a single game in Texans franchise history. The answer, Connor Barwin with 4. I know I'm going to see a lot of J.J. Watts down in the comment section, and you would think he had the most sacks in a single game in Texans franchise history, but J.J. has actually only amounted 3 sacks in a single game in Texans franchise history, even though he did it 7 times, but he still didn't get that magical 4 number that Connor Barwin was able to do. Let me know if you got it right down in the comment section. And as always, if you want to continue the discussion around this Texans team, around the NFL, you can always hit me up on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs for the latest around the Houston Texans, around pop culture, around the NFL, NBA, and more. And as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are the fastest growing Texans channel on YouTube for good reason. We bring you daily Texans content all year long. Rain or shine, we got you covered. So So go down and hit that sub button if you want the best Texans coverage here on YouTube.